My boyfriend scoffed and said, "You're too emotional, no one else would put up with you." I just smiled. The next day, he opened his messages. All our photos? Deleted. My number? Blocked. His last text to me? Wait, where did you go? I never thought I'd be sharing this, but here goes. I'm a 34-year-old woman from Chicago, and this is how my world turned upside down. I met Alex when I was 28. He was charming, with a smile that could light up a room. We met at a friend's party in Wicker Park. He offered to get me a drink, and we ended up talking for hours. He was an architect, passionate about his work. I was a freelance graphic designer, so we had the creative field in common. That night, he walked me to my car, and we exchanged numbers. Our first date was at a coffee shop in Lincoln Park. Alex was easy to talk to, and we laughed a lot. One date led to another, and soon we were spending most of our free time together. We explored the city, tried new restaurants, and even worked on a few projects together. He had this way of making me feel special, like I was the only person in the world. But things started to change. Alex began coming home late, blaming work. Our conversations became short, and he seemed distant. I tried to brush it off, thinking it was just a phase. One evening, we had plans for dinner. I waited at the restaurant for over an hour. When Alex finally arrived, he looked flustered and didn't apologize. I told him I was upset, and he just scoffed, saying, "You're too emotional, no one else would put up with you." That hurt more than I can say. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. One night, while Alex was asleep, I looked at his phone. I know it was wrong, but I needed to know. I found messages from a woman named Natalie. They were flirtatious and had been going on for months. My heart sank. The next morning, I confronted Alex. I showed him the messages. He tried to downplay it, saying Natalie was just a friend and it was a mistake. I asked, a mistake that lasted for months? He didn't have an answer. I was devastated. I spent days crying and questioning everything. But then, something in me snapped. I realized I deserved better. I gathered all our shared memories, photos, gifts, letters, and put them away. Then I deleted all our photos from his devices, blocked his number, and removed him from my social media. It was my way of taking control. Alex tried to reach out through friends, but I stood firm. The last message he sent before I blocked him was, "Wait, where did you go?" The irony wasn't lost on me. I focused on myself. I took on new projects, joined local art communities, and even started therapy. Each day was a step toward healing. It's been a year since then. Looking back, I see how much I compromised in that relationship. Alex's betrayal was a harsh lesson, but it led me to rediscover myself. About 2 months after I cut Alex off, I started getting emails from an unknown address. The subject lines were vague. Stuff like, "You need to know," or "Ask him about Denver." I ignored the first few, thinking it was spam, or maybe even Alex trying to reach out in some weird way. But curiosity got the better of me, and I finally opened one. Inside was a screenshot of a flight confirmation, Alex's name on a round-trip ticket to Denver. The date was a week before our anniversary, a time he'd told me he was swamped with a client deadline and had even stayed overnight at the firm. The email didn't say anything else, just the screenshot. I didn't know what to do with that. I had already blocked him, deleted him, done everything I could to move on. But this reopened something. Not just anger. It was this sharp, cold feeling that maybe there had been even more lies. I started digging. I went back through old bank statements I'd forgotten to unlink from our shared budgeting app. Sure enough, there were hotel charges in Denver, dinners, a bar tab that looked like it belonged to more than one person. I couldn't believe how easy it had been to ignore all the signs before. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I messaged Natalie. I found her on Instagram. She had an open profile, lots of selfies, travel pics, and one that stopped me cold. It was her and Alex at a rooftop bar in Denver. She was leaning into him, and he was looking at her like she was the sun. I sent a message. Straight to the point. "Did you know he had a girlfriend when you were in Denver with him?" She replied within minutes. Wait. What? We messaged back and forth all night. Turns out, Alex had told her I was his ex, that we'd broken up months ago, but were still sorting out living stuff. He even said I had a hard time letting go, that I was unstable. I sat on the edge of my bed, phone in hand, stomach churning. Natalie wasn't innocent in all this. She had still pursued a man who was clearly tangled up, but I could tell she'd been played too. Then she said something I didn't expect. I'm not even the only one. He was seeing someone else in San Diego too. She messaged me last month. That's when it hit me, Alex hadn't just cheated. He was running some kind of messed up, emotional con across state lines. Different cities, different women, the same lies. My blood went cold. I wasn't just heartbroken anymore. I was furious. So I did something petty. I won't lie. I made a private Instagram. Posted all the screenshots. The flight. The texts. Photos of him and me that matched up date-wise to his business trips. I didn't tag him, but I used hashtags I knew would pop up in his social circles. Architects of Chicago, city skyline shots, his favorite sushi place. It took less than 24 hours for the messages to start pouring in. People I barely knew. Some I hadn't talked to in years. His friends. His coworkers. Even his sister messaged me. I always had a bad feeling about him. I'm so sorry. Then one more message came in. From another woman. Hey, I saw your post. I think he's been dating me too. For the last 5 months. We live in Chicago. I just stared at the screen. This man had been cheating not just with one person, but creating parallel relationships, living double or triple lives, all in the same city. And no one knew. Not until now. I haven't replied to her yet. I don't know what to say. I thought I was the girlfriend. I thought Natalie was the affair. But maybe I was the affair. Or maybe none of us were. Maybe we were all just names on a list to him. What kind of person does that? The worst part is, he always said, you're too emotional. No one else would put up with you. But maybe he wanted us to be emotional. Maybe that's how he kept us too distracted to ask real questions. I'm still putting the pieces together. I don't know where this is going, but I'm starting to realize. This wasn't just a breakup. It was a con, and I wasn't the only one. A week after I got that last message, the one from the other woman in Chicago, I finally replied. Her name was Tasha. She was 32, a physical therapist who lived in Logan Square. She said she'd met Alex on Hinge. He told her he was single, of course. Claimed he hadn't dated seriously in years because he was too focused on work. Sound familiar? We talked on the phone for 2 hours. It felt weirdly comforting and deeply disturbing. She told me they went out every other weekend, usually Fridays. Which made sense. He'd always told me he worked late on Fridays or had drinks with the guys. Sometimes he even came home with that bar smell on him, said he'd crashed on a coworker's couch to avoid driving drunk. I'd believed him. Here's where it got insane. Tasha told me she'd once dropped by his office to surprise him. He panicked when he saw her. Said he was in a meeting and couldn't let her in. Told her to wait downstairs. Then came down 20 minutes later with coffee and acted like it was no big deal. But he didn't work in that building. He never had. I knew where his firm was. I'd been there. It was on the other side of the loop. So I told her. She didn't believe me at first. But then she got quiet and just whispered, "Oh my God. He's been lying to me from the beginning." Then she told me something that made my heart stop. He's been staying at my place. Like, half the week. He has stuff here. I couldn't breathe for a second. That's why he was working late. That's why sometimes he was unreachable. He wasn't just cheating, he had another home. And then came the kicker. He told me his ex went crazy and deleted all his photos, blocked him on everything. That she tried to ruin his life. So that's the story he told to cover me up. I was the crazy ex in his version. The one who couldn't let go. The one who snapped. I almost laughed. Almost. But it came out more like a dry choke. Tasha asked if we could meet. I said yes. We met at a little diner on the north side, neutral territory. She brought a folder, a literal folder of printed texts, photos, even boarding passes from when he'd flown her to New York last spring. He'd told me he was attending a design conference. I remember now, he even brought me back a souvenir mug. I brought what I had, too. It felt surreal, like we were investigators in a case we didn't know we were part of. Two women, connected by one man's lies. And then Tasha told me something that changed everything. She said, "I think he's engaged." I blinked at her. "To you?" "No, not to me." She pulled up Facebook and showed me a profile. A woman named Marissa. She looked like the kind of girl you'd see in a boutique ad, perfect hair, big smile, soft eyes. Her profile was locked down, but her cover photo? It was of her and Alex, dressed up, standing under a banner that said, "She said yes." The date on the photo? Just 3 weeks ago. My hands went cold. He was engaged. Engaged, while still seeing me. While still seeing Tasha. While sneaking off to Denver. While planning trips with Natalie. I felt like I was going to throw up. I didn't even know what to do anymore. It was beyond heartbreak. This was like finding out the person you loved never existed. The next day, I made a burner Facebook account. I sent Marissa a message. Simple and polite. "Hey, I don't want to upset you, but I think we should talk. It's about Alex." She didn't reply right away. But 24 hours later, she did. "I know." That's all she wrote. Just those 2 words. And now I have no idea what that means. 3 days passed before I heard from Marissa again. I checked the burner account every few hours, unsure if she'd blocked me or was just trying to figure out what to say. Then a message popped up at 1:43 a.m. "Can we talk?" "In person." I agreed. We met at a quiet cafe in Lakeview. She looked tired. No makeup, hoodie pulled over her head like she was trying to disappear. She sat down across from me and said, "You weren't the first one to message me. You were the 4th. She pulled out her phone and slid it across the table. Messages. Screenshots. Voice notes. All from different women. All talking about Alex. Marissa's voice shook. "I thought we were planning a wedding. He told me he was traveling for work. He told me I was his only real relationship." I just stared at her. I felt numb. I didn't know if I should comfort her or scream. We were all lied to, all discarded and rearranged like furniture to fit his lies. We sat in silence for a while. Then she said, "He's going to be at the gallery opening Friday. The one for that downtown project he's been bragging about. Do you want to go?" I hesitated. Every part of me wanted to stay far away from him. But something deeper, a burning sense of injustice, rose in my chest. I said yes. The night of the gallery show was cold. Snow flurries, gray skies, bitter wind. Marissa and I walked in together, both in black coats, both holding manila folders full of printed screenshots and receipts. Alex stood near the bar, laughing with colleagues. He didn't see us at first. Then he turned and froze. His smile fell right off his face. Marissa didn't wait. She walked right up and slapped the folder onto the table next to him. It made a loud thwack. Conversations around us stopped. Heads turned. "Tell them," she said loudly. "Tell them how you proposed to me while sleeping with 4 other women." Alex's mouth opened and closed. His coworkers looked stunned. One guy even stepped back, like he didn't want to be part of the splash zone. I stepped up beside her. "Hi, Alex," I said, keeping my voice even. Or should I say con artist? He tried to laugh it off, but it sounded brittle. "What is this? Are you seriously? This is a public event. You're making a scene." Marissa turned to the room. "He told me I was his fiancé. He told her," she pointed to me, "that I was the crazy ex. He told another woman he was single and living alone while crashing at my apartment half the week." And then, as if the universe had perfect timing, Tasha walked in. She'd seen my message and decided to show up too. She made a beeline for us and added, "And he told me you two broke up a year ago." There it was. 3 women, side by side, in front of a crowd that suddenly felt very, very quiet. Alex's face drained of color. He looked at each of us like he didn't know where to start. Okay, he said, palms up. Yes, I lied, but it wasn't like this. It wasn't all at once, so no, I cut him off. Don't try to soften it. We did the math. There's overlap. So much overlap, it's practically a Venn diagram. He turned to Marissa. You know I love you. She shook her head. You love the feeling of being admired. That's not the same thing. He reached for her hand. She stepped back. Someone clapped. Just one person. Then a few more. I looked around. People weren't clapping for him. They were clapping for us. Alex was finished. We left together, the three of us, stepping into the icy Chicago air like survivors of a collapsed building. The days after were strange. Quiet. Still. I cried once, in the shower, but mostly I felt clean. Like I'd finally washed off years of gaslighting and manipulation. Marissa moved out of his apartment and stayed with friends. Tasha blocked him everywhere. I deleted the burner account and backed up every file, just in case, but I didn't look at them again. Word spread through his social circles. He lost 2 clients and got pulled from a big project. His sister messaged me to apologize for defending him, for believing his version of things. You were never crazy, she wrote. We just didn't see it. Neither did I. Until I did. It's been a few months. I see Marissa and Tasha sometimes. We meet for coffee or just check in with each other. Trauma bonding is real, and healing is slow. People say betrayal breaks you. But it didn't break me. It burned me. And I walked out of that fire sharper, clearer, and a hell of a lot less willing to settle for anything less than truth. I'm still single. Still figuring out who I am without someone else shaping the narrative. And that's okay. Because now I know I wasn't too emotional. I was just aware, and he hated that. And the next time someone tells me I'm too much, I'll smile and think, maybe they're just not enough for me.